Hello and welcome back to Football League World TV. I am Billy Mulley and today I'm joined by Dylan Bhundia to preview the 2022-23 Championship campaign from a Luton Town perspective as part of our Fans Voices series. Dylan, first of all, mate, how are you getting on today? And being a Luton fan, I guess it's all about progression.
Yeah, really good. Thanks, mate. Excited. I'm sure we'll talk about all the transfers and everything, but we're looking really, really strong at the minute. And as we always do, we're aiming to come out the window in a stronger position than we went into it with. And at the minute, I think we're doing that.
First of all, if you are new to Football League World TV, then make sure to give us a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy today's content as we try to aim for the 900 mark. And if you have any questions for Dylan, make sure to get them in and I will ask them accordingly. But first of all, Dylan, we'll speak a little bit about the 21-22 campaign, one where Luton were labelled dark horses, but I don't think the majority of Championship fans, maybe within the Luton camp it was different, but the majority of Championship fans probably wouldn't have expected Luton to finish in the playoffs. And it's that sort of underdog tag again that's managed to arise from all this.
Yeah, and to be honest, we exceeded what I thought we could achieve. But yeah, I think we really, really relished that kind of underdog tag. It took a bit of time for us to get going. We were reasonably strong before Christmas, but we really started to motor after Christmas. And when you have such a big turnover of players in the summer, that's to be expected. It's going to take a bit of time for everyone to come together and gel and really, really understand what we're trying to do. But I think Nathan Jones loved that. I think he loved the whole, we're underdogs and no one expects us to do this, that, and the other, and it's us against the world kind of mentality. So, yeah, I think we thrived off it, and what a season it was. The feeling at Huddersfield away after the game was pride. Everyone was proud, and there was no disappointment really. It was a missed opportunity maybe, but we were I felt extremely proud of what the group had achieved, especially given the circumstances in the last month or two of the season with injuries.
And we'll go on to the signings now, seven of them so far. I guess it started off quite quickly with Alfie Doughty coming in, Cauley Woodrow and Matt Macey, within the first week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Just speaking about those signings first, a good first bunch of signings. I guess they were filling priority areas to start with.
Absolutely. I mean, we knew we needed to add a bit of depth on the left side of our defence with, Amari Bell playing so many minutes last season, and you could see in the last 6-7 games, he was looking a little bit fatigued through no fault of his own. So yeah, Alfie Doughty, brilliant signing, 22 years old, nowhere near his ceiling, athletic, great 1v1 player, gets up and down. The amount of ground you have to cover at wing back is immense. Alfie Doughty can do that. So yeah, absolutely fantastic signing, completely out of the blue, no rumours or anything around that, but one that we have chased for a while since Jan 21, I think. And yeah, with Cauley Woodrow as well, filling that 10 pocket, such a clever player around the box, so much quality, dangerous. He's just a sniper around there, and he'll fit in really well behind that front two. And Matt Macey, we needed to strengthen our goalkeeping department. Obviously, with James Shea out, we had 6 goalkeepers last season. He's been playing for Hibs in the Scottish Prem, and he's obviously come in as a number 2 to Ethan Hovarth, who eventually joined on loan, which I'm sure we'll speak about. But 3 really good early signings that in the midst of Cal Naismith leaving and that causing a bit of uncertainty and a bit of disappointment and maybe nervousness around teams comparing us to Barnsley and so on. To hit back with those 3 quite soon was just showed up the statement of intent that we're trying to make in the summer.
And then the second bulk of transfers, you could probably class it as even Horvath come in, provide immediate competition to Matt Macey. We saw Luke Freeman join Luton as well. And then Louis Watson also joining the Hatters. Again, different to the first bulk in terms of the abilities, traits, and pretty much everything they bring to the table. But 3 kind of important signings, all for different reasons.
Yeah, and again with Horvath, just like I mentioned, we needed another goalkeeper, and he's got amazing pedigree. He's played Champions League or Europa League, I can't quite remember. But US, he's going to be pushing for that US international spot for the World Cup. Could we see him playing against England? We're in the same group as the US, aren't we? Which is brilliant. So great pedigree with him. And then with Louis Watson and Luke Freeman, we last summer we spoke a lot about athleticism and adding athleticism, and we signed Alan Campbell and he fit that. And obviously we've got Pelly Ruddock as well in that midfield area, real athletes, real aggressive players. But Louis Watson and Luke Freeman are quite different. They're technically very good. I don't know a great deal about Louis Watson, but look, Luke Freeman was signed by Chris Wilder in the Premier League for Sheffield United as a creative midfielder. So he's got immense talent, and obviously injuries are the slight issue there, but hopefully that'll be okay. And Louis Watson, another one who's a good age, someone that we can develop. From everything that I've heard of him, he's technically another very, very good midfielder. So maybe there's a slight change happening there in terms of we feel like we've added enough athleticism to the squad. Now we're trying to just add those technical players who can receive, who can turn out, who can play forwards. Maybe then we can start varying our play a little bit more. We were very direct last season. Now we've just added a couple more technicians. Can we play into feet a bit more? Can we play through the thirds and just vary our play a little bit more? So, yeah, those three very exciting signings. Some ceiling raisers, some floor raisers to the squad, and that's really good.
And the seventh and final signing so far, Clayton Morris, another very impressive striker that Luton will add to their ranks for the upcoming season. Shown promise in pre-season. Of course, somebody that's been able to make a big impact at championship level before, somebody that's a talismanic figure for Barnsley last year, a player that ticks a lot of boxes that you desire from a striker. So speaking about Clayton Morris and what he adds, and within the context of Luton's already strong front line, what do you make of him coming in and the kind of role he can play coming into the new season?
Well, he's an all-round player, and he's an athlete, which is a prerequisite for our front players. His work rate out of possession is phenomenal. But you look at some of his clips as well, and technically he's very, very good. He can finish off both feet. He's clever in the box. He can drop into feet and receive. He'll run channels, and he's that all-rounder that we want in that front two. And to be honest, I never thought we'd be able to sign him. I never thought we'd be able to afford Clayton Morris, but that's genuinely is an outstanding signing. Obviously, last year he was playing in a with all respect, a very poor Barnsley team, which just hindered certain things. But all the time, and we saw the goal he scored against us as well when we played them at home. And he combined everything with running in behind, hard running, pressing, and then little touches to just little drops to the shoulder, little touches, and just being clinical as well. So he's a complete all-rounder. He'll add so much to what we do. And as Nathan Jones has said, we need to help Elijah Adebayo out because, the reason he got injured at the back end of last season is because he played too much. So we need to make sure that Elijah Adebayo is always at his optimum. We don't have to push him through minutes when he's at 70%. And Clayton Morris coming in will really, really help that.
Any Luton fans watching along, make sure to get your comments or questions into Dylan. Of course, we've mentioned already there's been a fair few incomings. There's been a couple of departures as well. So we'll quickly go on to sort of the three main players in terms of departures, starting with Cal Naismith, obviously integral to what Luton done last year, a very, very important player. Of course, his departure will be disappointing for the Luton fan base, but it's not someone that's irreplaceable. There will be players or a player out there that can perhaps come in and fill that role. Do you think that's what Nathan Jones, the kind of route he'll go down?
Yeah, I think, he has mentioned that we want to add a left-sided centre-half. Look, Cal he came in as someone who was not a left-sided centre-back. He's playing right wing, left back, left wing back. His first game for us, he came on at left wing back against Bournemouth, and we turned him into the best left-sided centre-half, in the Championship, I think, or one of the best probably. But we can't underestimate how big a loss it is because he is a very, very good player. But will we recover from it? Absolutely, 100%. And you look at, some of the things that have been said around Amari Bell playing left of the three. If we do decide to persist with the back three, I think he's absolutely suited to that. Saw it against Forest, he was fantastic. Defensively, it's a very similar role to what he's done his whole career, playing left back in a four. It's the same spaces you cover in the left of a three. And actually in possession, we used him when he was playing left wing back quite narrow at points because then he could just find those forward passing angles into Elijah, into Cornick. because he's really, really strong at that. And we use then an overlapping left centre half in Naismith in Potts to then create that wide outlet. So you know what, I think actually Amari Bell's really suited to that. But do we need an extra body there? Yeah, I think we could. Whether there's someone who can come in and replicate the exact quality of Cal Naismith, that's going to be very, very difficult. But can we get a left-sided centre half just to balance it out? Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we'll definitely be chasing that. Whether it's someone who's a real ceiling raiser for the squad like Cal Naismith, or whether it's someone that we aim to come in and raise the floor and just develop a little bit, we'll see that. But because left-footed centre backs come at a premium. But hopefully we can get someone else in, because I know Nathan Jones talks a lot about having a good balance of right and left-footed centre half.
And sticking on the theme of defensive departures within the Championship as well, Peter Kioso has gone to Rotherham United. Peter Kioso coming in and probably initially was a player that was competing with James Bree for the right wing back role, but also came in as a right-sided central defender, also played as the most central at one point as well in a back three. So a player that has gone, a player that Luton fans have been impressed by, but perhaps Luton wasn't the best club for his progression, and going to Rotherham might be the next best thing for his career.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good deal for the club. I think it's a good deal for the player. He had 1 year left on his contract, I think, so we get a fee. Peter Kioso goes to Rotherham, gets more game time because he was well behind James Bree at right wing back. And to be honest, I actually think his best position is right of the back three at Championship level, because he's a fantastic defender, 1v1 defender, defends the back post brilliantly. He's such a good defender, but I always felt when he played right wing back that he just struggled to affect the game in the final third, especially when we've got James Bree there as well. And when you're playing wing backs, you need your wing back to affect the game in the final third. But look, I think it's a good move for him, and he'll go to Rotherham's a great club, and he'll have an impact there, and he'll get more minutes, and that's really good for him. And hopefully that he goes on and has a great career in the Championship, because he is a Championship player. I just don't necessarily think a Championship player as a wing back. I think he's a right-sided centre back in a three, and that's his best position.
And even beyond the Clayton Morris signing, there has been rumours about players coming in. The sort of inevitable links with Elliot Anderson after sort of a long time of scouting him. Matt Smith is another name that has been linked with Luton since the arrival of Clayton Morris. Jack Rudoni was another name until he ended up at Huddersfield Town. One player that's seemingly quite close to a move, Arabin Peppel. So there are still a lot of names being associated with Luton, and there's a lot of talk about the 25-man squad and it being very, very competitive, as it already is. Can you see further additions to this squad? Are there any current players that might benefit from a loan elsewhere because of the competitive nature of the squad?
Yeah, I think, well, with Arabin Peppel, I think that's basically done from all the stuff that's coming out of Canada. And Nathan Jones has said, we might bring one in just to safeguard the future of the club, was his words. And I think that's someone that, who could come in and actually, might not play this year. We might send him out on loan to League 2, League 1. I have no idea what level he's at, because he's been playing out in Canada. But, I think, yeah, that's a potential. I think obviously a left-sided centre-back is something that we're actively looking at. In terms of Elliot Anderson, I think, Newcastle won't let him go on a permanent deal, I don't think. So I don't see the value in having an attacking midfielder come in on loan when we've got the likes of Carlos Mendes-Gomez, who, struggled for game time last year. And his minutes would either just be limited by a loan signing. That wouldn't make too much sense. In terms of departures, yeah, there could be potential for someone like Admiral Musgrave to go. I rate Musgrave so highly, and I think he'll be a Championship striker, but I think he just needs minutes at the minute. And obviously with the front four, we've got forwards, we've got Cameron Jerome, we've got Elijah Adebayo, we've got Clayton Morris, we've got Paulie Woodrow, we've got Harry Cornick. We've got so many good players in those front areas, and is it best for him to go and get some minutes? Potentially, yeah, to come back and be a Championship player, because he is a Championship player. So look, I think I wouldn't expect too many incomings, maybe Peppel and a left centre-back, but I think the squad's in a very good place, and the numbers are big. Especially we've got players like Dion Pereira as well, who, will struggle a little bit as well to impact the first team, I think.
And then one other cause of discussion within the sort of Luton camp at the moment is probably the future of Elijah Adebayo. I guess with these signings Luton have made already, it would sort of safeguard the possibility of him leaving and having the options there available to Nathan Jones to be able to deal with that. But at the same time, Jones will be eager to keep hold of Elijah Adebayo. So do you think there's much scope for Adebayo to leave in this transfer window? I guess money does talk, but at what price do you think Luton would start listening?
I honestly no idea about prices because most of the stuff in the media is just wrong. But I think we will have a valuation. We'll have a very, very strong valuation for Elijah Adebayo. And if a club wants to come in and pay that, then you know what, let them, because it will be in the millions. And we've just signed Clayton Morris and we've signed Cauley Woodrow. So you know what, we want Elijah Adebayo at the football club because he'll score goals and he's a fantastic striker. But obviously the context is, no one's really sure about his contract situation at the minute. Does he have a year? Does he have 2 years? The club will be on top of that. And if a club does come in and wants to pay big money, then go for it. We signed him from Walsall for a very low fee. We then, getting a few million for him and we're a sustainable club. We invest that back in the squad. So look, it has to be a deal that's right for the club, and it will always be a deal that's right for the club if we're going to sell him. But if he stays, amazing, because then we've got an absolutely outstanding Championship striker. If he doesn't, then it's not a disaster. We will cope. We've just we have signed good Championship strikers, and we'll be okay.
And then looking ahead to the first 5 fixtures of the season, of course, the new campaign is edging ever closer. Doing it all again. As a Luton fan, Dylan, I'm sure you'll be wanting to even progress further than last season's 6th place finish. But we'll look at the first 5 fixtures. Again, you won't learn everything about the season within the first 5 fixtures, but it could be a good indication as to the kind of campaign Luton can expect. It starts with a game that no Luton fans really want, Birmingham at home, a fixture that last year at least was a difficult one for the Hatters, losing 8-0 on aggregate. Then it's Burnley away, Preston at home, Bristol City away, and then Swansea away. So I guess, first of all, Dylan, what do you make of those fixtures as a collective?
It's absolutely set up for Birmingham, with their takeover, with, Lawrence Bassini, with Matt Southall coming as chairman, with new owners today, with no players. It's absolutely set up for Birmingham to come and bop us 5-0 again. But hopefully that won't happen. But yeah, no, look, every game in the Championship is going to be tough. Burnley will be really interesting because obviously they're going through a big rebuild, new manager, lots of new players, lots of exciting EFL young players. How long will they take to gel? Obviously a complete change in playing style from last season. That will take time for them. Bristol City are building something quite interesting. Obviously they signed Naismith, but they're building something quite interesting there. So yeah, it's difficult to say because I feel like every game in the Championship is really, really tricky, and you have to be at your best, as we found last season playing Birmingham and losing 8-0 on aggregate. So, I think we have to be ourselves, and we go in and play our way. We know how we play, and just be ourselves, go out there and be our best, and let the opposition react to us rather than, we react to them.
I'm just looking at one fixture a little bit in a little bit more detail. Burnley away. Is it a good time, do you think, to play Burnley? Of course, made some exciting signings, that the Vincent Kompany era has started, but it's not going to be fully running up to speed that Burnley fans will want straight away. So is it good to get that kind of fixture done and dusted quite early?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, you just never know. They've got they've signed some fantastic players. Josh Cullen was one of his most important players at Anderlecht. They've signed Luke McNally from Oxford, who is fantastic. They've got CJ Egan-Riley from Man City. They've got Scott Twine from MK Dons. So, it's quite unknown at this point how they're going to play. What are they? How are they going to look for that second game of the season? But yeah, potentially it might be a good time because when you have a lot of you're trying to completely change the style of play. When you're bringing in lots of new players, lots of young players, quite a few players haven't played in the Championship before. Yeah, potentially it's a good time to to play them. And obviously we have a lot more Championship experience at the minute. So yeah, I think it could be a good time to play them, but you just don't know because they have very good players. And for all we know, we concede a free kick in the first minute and Scott Twine puts it top corner. So, it's very difficult to say, but potentially, yeah, I think from a stylistic point of view and from a gelling point of view, yeah, it might be a good time to play them.
I'm putting you on the spot here, Dylan. Looking at those first 5 games, I want a prediction of how many points Luton will pick up. I'll go through the fixtures again. Birmingham at home, Burnley away, Preston at home, Bristol City away, and Swansea away. How many points can you see Luton taking from those first 5 games?
I'll say 10. I think 10 would be a great return. And I think, some of the maths that Nathan Jones did at the end of last season, you get 8 points every 5 games and then get 3 on the last day, you get 75 points, you qualify for the playoffs. So I think if we can get 8 points, or if we can get over 8 points in that first 5 games, then, we're bang on track to where we want to be.
And you mentioned there about doing the maths there for getting a playoff spot. I'll come to you now again, putting you on the spot for a positional prediction. So where do you think Luton will finish? Do you think it will be a 7th successive campaign of improving their position on the Football League pyramid, or do you think last season was a height?
No, I think I think we'll finish in the playoffs. I think we'll finish 5th. I hesitate a little bit because last season I said we finished 10th or 11th. So and then we ended up finishing in the playoffs. So you know what, it might be top 2. I don't want to dream too much, but I think we'll finish in the playoffs, and I think we'll improve on the 75 points that we got last season. I think we'll do better than that.
Well, that is all for today. A big thank you to you, Dylan, for coming on and providing a little bit of a Luton perspective ahead of the new Championship season. As I said before, if you like this video, then please like and subscribe. Football League World TV on YouTube. We've got one more show today. Alfie Burns is joined a little bit later at 7:15 to speak to Stoke City fan Ben Rowley to do a similar kind of video ahead of the new Championship campaign. But until then, it's goodbye from us.